Hi, my name is Sophie and welcome to my review of Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is one of the books that I've had on my reading list for years and just never got round to reading it until second lockdown hit, and I sat down, saw it on my shelf and thought, this is it, I'm taking the plunge, I'm gonna read it finally. Then I thought I would do a review because I loved it so much. I just fell in love with it immediately. I think I got about 2 pages in. Actually, I don't even think it was the real story yet. I think it was still on the introduction, and I had one of those lovely reader moments when I just thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this book. And then when I actually started reading, I just remember feeling absolutely gutted that I hadn't read it years ago. So we're here, got my space dress on, let's get to it. So for anyone who doesn't know, because like me, you've been living under a rock for the past 40 years, I think, since it came out. It's the story of a guy named Arthur Dent who wakes up one day, finds out that his house is about to be demolished. So his friend, Ford Prefect, comes along, takes him to the pub, reveals that he's an alien and the entire Earth is about to be destroyed. The two of them manage to escape on one of the ships. They meet up with some other characters, and then the rest of the novel is basically them going around the universe having wacky space adventures. And also there's a really grumpy robot who I adore. The whole thing is just expertly crafted. It's really smart, it's really funny. Like, this is genuinely one of the few books that has made me laugh properly out loud. Okay, so start with the great things about it. The writing itself is great, and I understand that's a very vague statement to make, but in particular I think the world building works really well. Adams has this way of sort of interlacing all these details throughout the main narrative, so you're not faced with loads of exposition or all these information dumps, which when it comes to sci-fi and you're dealing with the entire universe, I think is a really hard thing to do. But he does it in such a unique way as well. So, for example, there are all these different similes and metaphors which are either really weirdly specific, so he kind of taps into an emotion that you didn't realise had a name, or a really specific experience that everybody has but no one talks about, or he'll relate them to some made up alien race, but given the context of the novel it somehow makes sense because it adds all these extra layers to the narrative, and it's almost it's world building in a way that's really subtle, and you don't notice it until you will like see a reference to an alien race later on and be like, oh yeah, that was the same thing from before, and you're learning without being aware that you're learning, which I think is really clever when it comes to this kind of genre. If I had anything negative to say, I think at times it comes across as a little episodic. I think it gets to a bit of a point when it becomes a bit repetitive, when it's sort of characters go here, something happens, characters go somewhere else, something else happens. But I understand that's kind of part and parcel for what the story is. It's a story about these characters on this ship travelling across the universe and having all these adventures together. And I also wonder if part of that as well is because I have been reading it. I've got the entire 5-part trilogy, love that by the way, and I've been reading it like straight for the past few weeks, so I wonder if that is just me because I've been reading it so solidly that pattern is more noticeable. But also it isn't even really a criticism, because the novel is genuinely so fun to read that I'm excited to see what else happens on these on their travels. I want to know what happens to them next. So yeah, this has been my quick review. I was going to come up with some kind of clever rating system for each review I do, but I thought stars are already pretty spacey, so I'm going to stick with them for now. So I would give this 8 out of 10 stars. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to read about a bunch of chaotic idiots travelling around the galaxy together and getting into all kinds of trouble. That's all I've got to say for now. I might do a review of the entire series once I finish it, we'll see. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. This has been my review for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.